My name is Tim Hartman, and I'm a Aboriginal person who's descended from the Ngarrindjeri as well as the Millicent and Boandik, which are the lower southeast Aboriginal groups.
Well, I'm Des Hartman. I grew up in the southeast. My people come from right down to around this way, up right up along the Coorong as well, and over into Victoria.
Hi, I'm Emily Fern. I'm the Bushland Recovery Officer for the Department for Environment and Heritage in Mount Gambier.
At the moment we're in the Penola Conservation Park, and this is one of the small refuges of natural vegetation that we have left throughout the lower southeast.
Reserves such as Penola Conservation Park are increasingly important in the landscape as much of it has been cleared for agriculture.
Where we are today is, I suppose, one of the areas where my ancestors would have been living a few hundred years ago. Unfortunately today, even though it does look very good around here, we're in the middle of winter at the moment and there's still not a great deal of water around the place.
So the water table has been, basically dropped at least 6 feet, even underground. Whereas when I was 10 years old, I'd be wading waist deep in water.
A lot of these river redgums actually need flood events. They need to be wet and dried for them to be able to sort of grow and propagate and have more trees for future generations.
The main variety down here is Eucalyptus camaldulensis, and they live for probably 200 to 300 years. Some of the trees you see here are already that old, so it's getting to the stage now where we need to make sure that we're allowing some of the new growth to come up so that in time the young trees can replace the old ones.
Where we are now is what it used to look like all over the lower southeast prior to the land being cleared and the water being drained off and away to the ocean. And they're very important because they're a place where we as Aboriginal people can come back and have some really good connection with country.
Often when you find people are fencing off areas, a lot of red gums are coming up in a small space and actually crowding themselves out. So it's actually quite a delicate balance with red gum restoration. They're generally quite large trees that are sort of sparsely distributed. And because they're all over the country, it is considered that they're not under threat, but they are. It's a beautiful tree, but it also provides significant habitat for a variety of arboreal mammals like gliders, ringtail possums, brushtail possums, and also provides habitat for a lot of bird species, including our nationally endangered red-tailed black cockatoos, who use the hollows of the trees to nest. But if you did have red gum on your property and that sort of thing, then our department, Environment and Heritage, are very interested to have a look and make sure that birds like the red-tailed black cockatoos have somewhere to nest into the future.
And it's these special places where the river redgums would have been growing. We would have had a lot more water around here. We would have been cutting the canoes from around these places. We would have been living by the watercourses because that's what gave us our food and our life. We would have had large campsites set up, and we would have had families being able to move with the seasons, following the foods, following the land.
I would like to see it back at least to how it was when I was growing up.
I think one of the key things that the managers of the land and the landscapes is to be open to advice and information about what this country looked like from an Aboriginal perspective. With our thousands of years of knowledge, we can hopefully be able to impart some of that to the farmers, the governments, and whoever's sort of using the land today to try and promote better practices. That we will have areas where we've got native vegetation. We will have areas which has healthy waterways. It's about trying to get people to respect our knowledge and our history and incorporate it into the future of being able to manage these places.